how I always do the intro. Welcome to another medicine music series where we're going to talk today with two women that I really love and appreciate, Coco and Breezy. Thank you so much for being here in your home.
Yes, thank you for having us.
I've been following you both for a while and I just love everything you're doing. I love, the combination of your DJ sets, your fashion, eyewear, and I've just loved watching everything you're doing. You're so high energy. You bring so much love and light to your audiences, to your friends, community, I can tell. So I wanted to have a conversation with you about your experience with art, creativity, music, plants, medicine, psychedelics, your views on politics, if you have any. I wanted to start by just asking you about your upbringing and maybe experiences that were pivotal or that, showed you your destiny, or your path ahead, or, just great experiences when you were young, I guess. What was your upbringing like?
Well, I'm going to start in the womb. I always felt like in the womb, it's crazy, I have a memory, like intuitively, where I always felt like we were going to do something in the world to like bring some type of love or light to the world. And when we were born, Coco almost didn't make it. She was like a miracle baby. And I think that it's so funny because we as being twins, a lot of people always ask us like, oh, can you feel each other's, like if one person's hurt, can you feel it? But like in life, it's all about practice. And so we've been practicing unconditional love. We've been practicing using our intuition like right out the womb. And so I always tell people, I'm like, we can do that because we've been practicing that from the womb, but that's something that anyone can do. And so I think from the womb, I kind of knew that we were destined to like just bring some type of healing to the world.
But then also getting older, when we were maybe like, I would say we were probably like 2, and our parents and our aunt, they would come to us to like read. Well, our aunt would come to us to read like her boyfriends and be like, so who's this person? Are they good? And one time we sung bad boy, what you gonna do? And they found out he wasn't a great person, And so I think that, again, that started with us doing like energy work with each other.
I love that.
And we just always knew that we were different and special.
Even
somehow.
our friends' older sisters would bring their boyfriends to us as well. And they would genuinely ask us like, what do you think about this person? And when you're a kid, we were kids.
Little psychic twins.
Yeah, it's so wild. But when you're a kid, I didn't realize that they knew that. Cause we didn't know. But like so many people just trusted our gut and our intuition, but we didn't put 2 and 2 together that it had anything to do with being a psychic. I think that's what gave us confidence as young kids to really like trust our intuition, was because so many people put so much confidence into our decisions and like just really truly asking us.
And you're just like a team always. You get to just go back and forth and check in with each other. Is it kind of like having a double intuition?
Yes. It is, because sometimes like it is like having a double intuition, but then also we are 2 different people.
Absolutely.
So there are times where like it's like, do I trust mine? Does she trust hers? Or do we just do our own decisions? Because there was a time in our lives where we didn't express our individualities, and it was really tough because we were going off of like, we were like 50-50, we were half and half, and now she's fully whole, I'm fully whole.
So now we're 200% together.
Yeah, it's a really good feeling.
Got it. I can only imagine. It's really special.
Thank you.
I wish I had a twin.
But even like growing up, I'm so grateful that we didn't come from a lot at all, but I'm so grateful that our parents gave us so much love. Like we didn't have a lot of money, but we said I love you probably like a million times throughout the day. And our parents really allowed us to be true to ourselves at such a young age. Like they never told us we couldn't do anything. They never told us we couldn't express ourselves, like self-expression. If you wanted to wear a hair a certain color, if you wanted to like get piercings at a young age, like we only
like, just go for it.
Yeah,
That's
and it's
beautiful.
so wild because our dad grew up with no freedom. He grew up during segregation, which is just one generation ago. In the South.
And he picked cotton, even though it was like legalized.
It was like
slavery.
legalized slavery. That's one generation ago. And then our mother is Puerto Rican. She grew up in a very like strict like Puerto Rican household where like
she couldn't express her creativity. She had to like not live her dreams. And so I think that's why the both of them not having like freedom of expression, they said, you know what, we're going to pour this all into our kids. We don't know what the hell we're doing, but like we're just going to let them do them.
They didn't put their trauma onto us, if that makes sense.
That's special.
Yeah, and it's so crazy. I don't know where they got those tools from. Like they really just let us be ourselves.
I think it takes a lot of self-awareness, you know, to say this is the experience I've come from, and I'm not going to put that onto my children. I'm not going to repeat the same mistakes and repeat the, you know, any generational trauma or, you know, addiction, things like that. You know, it's very easy to pass through. So, what age did you realize you wanted to be in music or that you were artistic?
I would say probably middle school. We used to be dancers, and so being dancers is what actually got us into like music production and music. And so I always tell this story about when we were younger, we used to do talent shows and we used to make our own mixes because we were like, we're not going to dance to one song, we have to make a cool edit.
In middle school.
And so we just like, this is showing my age, but we would get a cassette tape and record songs, like pieces of songs from like CDs or the radio. We said that we're like, one day we're going to be DJs. We're going to call ourselves the Double Mix Twins, which is so corny.
Yeah, it's so corny.
So we didn't go with that, but that was like the start of wanting to get into music.
And also too, we grew up with like everyone on my dad's side singing.
Okay.
Everyone on my mom's side, like playing like percussion.
And they all sing.
All singing. My mom would wake us up at 5 a.m. playing the congas. And our stepdad was a drummer. And so we were around music.
And Coco and Breezy are your real names?
Yeah, so Coco and Breezy are our real names, but they're not the names that were on our birth certificate.
Exactly.
Our parents have been calling us Coco and Breezy out the womb.
Our whole family.
They like wrote the wrong names on the birth certificate because I've never heard them call me Corianna and Brianna ever, like
Grandma,
a day in my life.
Coco and, I've never heard Grandma call me Corianna before either.
Me neither. I've heard no one in my family call us that.
That's why I love when people ask that question, because like when I meet artists, I'm like, what's your name? And I'm like, what does your grandma and your mom call you? Oh, they call you your real name.
Yes.
Cool. Our family calls us Coco and Breezy. They just knew.
That's cute. It really works. And did you try drugs when you were teen?
No, we were goody two shoes. We didn't even curse until we were 18.
Yeah.
Like, we did not say a curse word until we were 18.
Yeah,
like we literally were like, I think because our parents gave us so much freedom, we didn't want to break it.
Yeah.
We didn't try to drink, none of that. Like when kids were at school doing like, they were doing acid, they were getting drunk.
No, they weren't doing acid. They're
yes,
doing like...
they were, Brianna.
Oh, they were?
Yes.
Oh.
You didn't know what it was.
Okay.
Because they had tabs at school.
I didn't know about tabs.
Yeah, I didn't know either, but it looked like tape. I thought it was tape.
Okay.
But I guess it was, now that I'm older, that's what they were doing. We were goody two shoes. I remember people would ask us and we're like, they were using all these code words for stuff. I'm like, I don't know what the heck that is.
The wild part is like we dressed like, especially in middle school, we were like super punk, all black, studs.
People assumed we were the party girls, and we never been the party girls.
You were, but not getting messed up.
No, we weren't though, actually, because we started working at 15.
We didn't go to parties.
Yeah, our dad got sick, and so we were blessed with the responsibility to be independent, and we've been financially on our own since we were 15.
Oh, wow.
We like got our first jobs at 15, had 2 jobs at 16, 3 jobs at 17, and then started Coco and Breezy Eyewear. I've been doing that full time.
Like
since
18,
19 years old.
You started that at 18, 19?
I've been doing it full time. Haven't had a regular job since.
Good for you. That's amazing. That's very inspiring. You got to work, and you got to put in enough work to get inspired, to be like, you know what? I'm going to work for myself. I'm going to create something cool, something unique, and what you have created is super unique.
Thank you.
You know, there's a lot of product out there, but I think your brand, like how you are together as a unit, is so unique and so special, and that's why it sells.
Thank
I
you.
love it. So was it marijuana the first thing you tried?
Yeah, it was because my dad smoked marijuana.
We
So
snuck a little puff.
We were so young, he would always just have us like, it was really free around us, like he never hid it from us. So he would call like the little small things his roach. And so we were little, he'd be like, go pass me my roach. And I knew that.
Try it until we were older.
No, but I'm saying he always had like a shoe box where like that was like his.
The box top.
The box top.
He would come up from upstairs at the top, like hold it up like we can't see what was in there. But you know, kids, we know everything.
I'm like, Dad, what's that smell? But he would have us pass him his like joints and stuff. It was very open.
Yeah, but we tried it when we were like 18-ish.
Yeah.
But we never
late.
like.
That's a little late.
It is late. We never like really. We've never been like everyday smokers. I still like smoke for a purpose. Because me smoking every day, like I know my own body. I know everyone's bodies are different. So I know my body, and I know that if I like smoke all day every day, it'll make me tired. But like when I want to go to sleep, then I'll take a little. I'm like a 2-puff smoker. Like we can have a joint for like a month. Like,
same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I literally
It's not
use
the
it
same. It's
to like go to sleep.
the chemistry changes as we get older or something too. It's like I used to be able to do that too all day, and now I look at people who do that. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you
but
know,
everyone's bodies are different.
But also too, we just kind of look at like weed or marijuana or like psychedelics, all like medicine versus like recreational.
well, we don't learn that really young. We have to kind of learn that on our own, and depending who we're around, what people introduce us to which medicines or how they come to us. You know, because I think sometimes if we're eager, we go looking for certain things, feeling like that's going to, you know, please us or satisfy some sort of need or give us a feeling that we're needing. But I think when they come to you, that's the most special thing, you know, especially if they come through somebody that you've had in your life, somebody you trust, family. That's very special to be introduced to these things and like actually be taught about herbs, plants, you know, and how these things are even made, you know, how drugs are made, or the reality of how many people are on something, you know. Like now there's an awareness. I think kids realize, you know, that it's pretty common now that people are on prescriptions, and not many people are using that intuition to actually do what's best for the body. So it's a gift that you were able to wait, you know, to have that and then be introduced to these things slowly, you know, and find what works for you. So what does work for you?
Mushrooms have been so healing for us. Like we got introduced to it from our friend.
We got our friend Theo Croker, who's like an amazing musician. And he led my first journey. And it was really...
So it was ceremonial.
Yeah, it was very ceremonial. He said, I'm going to give you your first journey, and from now on, this is how you should always take the medicine. And I feel so grateful to have that experience. And it wasn't like in a party experience. It was very much like we had our candles lit, we had a certain lighting, we had our medicinal music playing. And after that, my experience has always been that. But literally, it was life-changing. Because I used to have a really big wall up. And people used to tell me that they saw my light and my power, but I didn't see it. And so I did about maybe 4 ceremonies where I kept saying like, Coco, you're gonna step into your power.
But she was fighting.
And I was fighting the medicine.
She was fighting it because we probably like had like 4 grams of the medicine.
And I was like,
That's a lot.
I was like,
But she was.
I don't feel anything.
She had such a wall up.
But that showed me that I had a wall up in my real life, that I was fighting the medicine. I didn't want to see myself.
It's common.
Yeah, and then I remember the first time where I what's it called, like when you just let go?
You surrendered.
I surrendered. And we were at the beach, we were laying in a sand dune. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna surrender because I can't keep fighting myself, and I can't keep having this wall up in life. Because it was like stopping me from so much. Like I had social anxiety, I was living in my like childhood narrative. And then when I finally surrendered, I like astral traveled, I like saw so much, and it was so beautiful because I felt like I let go of like this huge wall that was with me for my whole life, and I literally stepped into my power. I feel like from my inside to my outside, like when I look at my photos of myself from like 3 years ago, I didn't feel as beautiful because you could just see the insecurities in me. Now, like, you can't tell me anything. I feel like I'm just flowing now in life. And even like we do ceremonial journeys, like Breezy even leads them for our friends with like sound healing now.
Beautiful.
And it's been super life-changing. And that's how we balance, that's how we reground when we're on tour. If we come home for like a day, I'm like, okay, I need to do a journey.
And something that I love about even like the people that we choose to work with, last year we were on tour and we had a day off. And our tour manager, we asked him, I was like, would you be open to us leading a mushroom journey for you? And it was his first time. He had mushrooms before, but he never had like a ceremonial like experience that was like really intentional. And we had one of our homegirls come over and she did some sound healing. And we just laid out here. We played like beautiful music. And it was so amazing to see like his throat chakra opened up. And he just like finally like felt seen. And it just really inspired me to like be able to hold space for like the people that we care about.
That really need it.
Yeah, that really need it. And like that also felt, he felt like he was alone in his community. Because he's so enlightened, but he had to like dim his light down because the people around him didn't understand it. And in that moment, he said he felt like a choke and just like a release. And his throat chakra like literally opened up. And now like he's such a light. And it's so beautiful to be able to have just people in our lives where we can like just hold that type of space. Because we know we've done so much healing. So now like our friends and the people we care about, we just want to be able to hold space and like and share that medicine.
Well,
it
people
changed
see
our
that
lives.
and feel it too. If you're making the shift in your own life, right? If you're taking the initiative to say, okay, I'm going to, I'm willing to look at myself and go into my past, into my pain, into the trauma, into the family stuff, into the things that I don't love about myself, and just face it and then heal that and create that freedom and that liberation and that empowerment. People see that and feel it immediately.
Yeah.
And they want that. So then they become curious and it's like, hey, what are you on?
Right.
Right? What'd you do? What did you do to heal yourself and to raise your frequency? And I think that's the beautiful thing about these medicines is what an impact it has. It's like contagious, just like love and laughter and light, and just like, being able to relate and how those experiences, when you think about what mushrooms are, right? They're this network, and it's like a community. So that's how I see it. It's like the impact that it has when we develop a relationship with the plants, with medicines, or any psychedelics, if that's what works for you. People feel that right away.
Oh, can I share my ayahuasca experience as well?
Absolutely. They're my favorite stories because they're always so wild.
So my experience, I think that's when we really stepped into our power. We had some friends that held space and had a shaman there. Originally,
Where was this?
This is in LA.
At this particular time, we were with a group of people, and like this particular shaman that our friend did it
Met
with
in the
in
jungle.
Mexico, she was in town, so he was like, let's hold space together and do it, because she's a Black woman shaman. And it's like very rare
Yes,
we
it
can
is.
get like a Black person.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So like we had to we took in that space. Our first experience, we wanted it to be in the jungle, but I'm happy
Me
that
too.
our first
Didn't
experience got to
happen.
be with a Black woman.
Mine
But
was-
it called us early. And it was so beautiful because at that time, it was maybe like 6 of us. And we all thought that the medicine wasn't working. And what we learned...
We thought it was a scam at first.
At first, we thought it was a scam. We're like, this isn't working. We're not throwing up. We're creating this narrative of what we think our healing journey should look like.
Yeah.
So we already had this like narrative that we were comparing our journey should look like a mirror of someone else's, and not really being mindful that our own journeys are supposed to go how it's supposed to go, right?
Were you talking about this during the ceremony?
Yeah.
Well,
no, this is...
during ceremony, in the middle of it, we were all laying down, and one person got up and was like, I don't feel anything. Then
I said
Breezy
something.
got up, and then that's when I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep it chill, because I think we just had this expectation of like throwing up and doing all these things. But then later on, we took more. And then that's when everybody was like, all the energy like shifted. We all were aligned. But then later on,
the shaman, she actually changed my life because she told us, she was like, you guys all said it didn't work, but you were sitting there for like 4 hours not moving. And she said that we were all brought together because everyone in there was very successful, like entrepreneurs, businesses, chefs, actors. Everyone's like very successful and came from nothing. She said that we were all measuring our success
with
from struggle. And we all needed that experience, that we don't always have to struggle to have that equal as success. And that's why that was our experience. And I took that with me because I was expecting the struggle for it to be successful.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was expecting to feel the struggle because at
like
that
I wanted
time,
to hurt.
Sometimes
I wanted
you
to
can.
do X, Y, and
Sometimes
Z.
it is that
no,
way.
it is that most of the time. But what I'm saying is that in that point in my life, I was living in that scarcity mindset for a long time. So for that to be my first experience is that I needed to see that all I have known is the struggle to equate it to success. And realize that I'm abundant.
Like somebody can throw us, like at that time, someone can give me $1 million and I'd be like, it was too easy. But if I like worked hard and was tired and then got the $1 million, I'd be like,
that's
that's lit.
Yeah.
Now I'm so abundant because things are just like pouring because I'm accepting it. Before, I felt like I had to like
team no sleep.
But we did that. We did team no sleep for so many years, and it's like we don't have to do team no sleep anymore.
So
just as far as got it. As far as like touring,
just
hustling,
everything,
working,
yeah,
thriving,
and of course that we sometimes we don't get the best sleep, but also like
it feels different.
Yeah,
we're doing everything we want to do. It's like if we,
I feel
like
we're at
flow.
Now.
Yeah,
it's like
different.
Flow state now.
Yeah, it is.
It's like now I'm actually doing what I want to do.
Yeah,
and it feels like I don't have to. Like, of course, there's still hard work and a little bit of struggle, but like I don't have to only struggle to equate that to success. And I can also accept the things that are abundant, because I realized once so the other day I was I was meditating, right? And I was like, damn, the way that life is like when you're in the ocean, right? When you're like in flow state, when the waves are coming towards the sand, and sometimes it gets rocky and it'll push you back, and you like, well, sometimes you don't even have to swim, it'll just push you back to the front. That's like being in flow state. But then like when you're like fighting against the current, and you're just fighting, getting pushed back, fighting, you have to realize that that's not for you. You know what I'm saying? And like I'm like, that's how life is. It's like we keep, because you compare yourself to other people's success, and you're fighting against the current, and it's impossible. Like, it's not for you, but you're like wasting your time. So I feel like I figured life out in a way, where now I'm like, I'm always working hard, but if I love a challenge, and I know that there's lessons, but understanding the difference between a lesson and not for me. So it's like, okay, this is a lesson, this is a hardship, I'm learning from it. And now like I see a result, or like it feels like it's still part of my flow state. But then, and it still brings me peace, even if it's a challenge, and even if it is hard. But then here, if I'm just fighting against the current, fighting for it, and like feeling like I'm stuck, I'm realizing like, okay, that's not for me, let me like move on to the next thing.
It's wisdom. Have you had ayahuasca since that experience?
No, not yet.
Wow. How long ago was that?
We're going to.
Like a year ago?
Like a year and a half.
Oh,
was it after Costa Rica?
No, I think
it
was after Costa Rica.
Okay, so about a year ago.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's, you let it come to you. It's like it'll always show up. Were there any particular messages or visions that you had that you cannot unsee?
I had a vision of me in my beautiful house. I had a garden, and I was holding my baby on my waist. And I was just eating, like me and my baby were like picking out our own fruits and vegetables. And I see that vision all the time. Like, I want kids, I just don't know when. And I can't wait to get to a point where I can just pick out my own foods. Like, I really want my kids to go pick out their food from my backyard. And then they'll learn how to cook, and we can cook together, but like we're eating the food that we grow. That's
a beautiful vision. Did you have anything?
Just like something that comes up for me multiple times with all the plant medicine. I feel like I always like go through this like cycle of different scenarios in my life. It almost feels like a movie, but like
it does.
It'll show me from like childhood up into like middle school to high school to
you had
adult.
the flash. We call them like flashcards.
Yeah, right? It happens all the time.
They just come, and it's just.
And
like,
then
wow.
I keep having to like solve them, and once I like solve it mentally, then I'm like, okay. And then I realize too like how much love, like just how much power love has, and in all my journeys I've done, just like I think Coco and I both have learned how to not take things personally and realize that we're all in our own movies. Like literally, even if someone is like projecting, or if they're like being aggressive towards you, it really has nothing to do with you at all. So even like knowing how to protect my energy, and that I don't have to accept it necessarily in my energy,
but protecting your peace.
Protect my peace in a way where like I can't internalize it, because I know it has nothing to do with me. And like doing plant medicine has helped me so much to realize that we're all like together, but also separately. Like it takes community, but also knowing that we're all in our own individual like journeys.
Well, one of the beautiful things about so ceremonies in the jungle, for example, if you work with like the Shipibo people, which is in Peru, they're very much just about you being in your lane, right? And it's so significant to how you go and live your life after ceremony, right? Like that's what it's done for me. It's just like keep that focus on myself, right? It's the same thing as like learning how to protect myself, my energy, my peace, my joy, right? My own idea about my life. So the Shipibo people, you know, their ceremonies are in complete darkness, where you're not able to look at others, you're not able to engage, there's no talking, there's no, you know, you just speak when spoken to, kind of, you know, and just really being in your own space and learning how to comfort yourself, learning how to only look to yourself to move you through, you know, as little as possible, looking outside of the self. And that's what I appreciate about that, you know. And the darkness is hard because there are beautiful moments where you just want to check in and look. I like looking at myself sometimes in the medicine, because it's just, it reminds me of all the times before, you know, kind of like a series, you know, where you look at yourself, like you were saying, like when you were younger, the way you looked at yourself, you can see it in yourself in photos. I might not be able to, but you know, when you look at yourself, what your confidence level was, how much you had practiced, you know, spirituality, how well you took care of yourself. You know, only we know these things. So that's the beautiful thing, is I like doing those little check-ins of just like, hey, it's me again, you know. But there's something so powerful about the darkness too, because you just, there's nothing else to do but
go inside.
Yeah. So besides ayahuasca, mushrooms, has there been any other like, okay.
Yeah,
We did a ceremony in Mexico with rape and
it was like a microdose of peyote.
Okay.
and it was
How
like
was that?
body work. It was such a beautiful ceremony.
It was like a body work kind of session. They gave us massages, but it was really just like moving our energy around. And so it was crazy because my hips and my lower back was hurting for years. Like I did every stretch, I did every like massage guns, all this stuff, but it was actually energy that was sitting in my hips and my lower back.
Is.
That's where like a lot of stress is held. And so when I did that session, my hips were loose, my lower back was not tight anymore, and I actually, because I've done rape a few times, but that was my first time purging.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Because it was a higher dose.
It was a
of
higher
rape.
dosage. So the first time,
And it was delivered to you?
yeah. And at first I was like, I'm not gonna purge, because like the other few times I've done it, I've never purged. And so when they first gave it to me the first time, I was cool. And then the second time I purged, and I felt like I needed to get everything that was in my body, I had to get out. But then at that moment, that's when we both figured out, so we don't sing, but that's when we figured out we could hold a note.
Yeah. And
Because,
no,
for real.
Because
she was like, they're like, just be free and sing and dance.
They're singing, and we were able
After
to,
the
like,
purge?
It was like during,
right.
it was like during the whole thing, because I was like purging in between.
So during the context, during the whole ceremony, it was a mix of like, after the body work, there's two shamans. One person was like playing music and singing, and then the other person was also singing, but also like doing body work as well. And then they held space for us, because for the rape part of it, it was a heavier dose for us to like just kind of just tap in with like our ancestors. It was like a super heavy dose where like I was in a trance. And
we were just like moving
around,
and
singing, yeah.
And they're like, oh, you can hold a note.
But after that day, my ear as a producer changed though, because now I hear music so different now.
What I realize is how important music is with these medicines, and how they accompany the experience, enhance the experience, and make people aware of their musical abilities, or the ability to sing and open the voice. And some of those songs are actually created through the indigenous people, not sometimes, all the time. These songs are coming directly, right, from Source, Creator, Great Spirit, God, you know, through the indigenous people to enhance whatever you're feeling, right? Always in a good way, you know, and if it takes a turn, that's okay, that's part of it. But those hape or rape ceremonies I find so beautiful, because they're not so deep, and they're just very uplifting and fun. And after you purge too, it's similar feeling, right? Not the same, but it's a similar feeling of having that kind of release and really moving any energy that was stuck or stagnant in the body. It's more of a body experience, right, than a mind altering thing. And that's, I think, why that medicine is so healing. And I think it goes straight to the heart and straight to the crown, like, right? Just like opens like a portal. So I love that medicine as well.
Being able to perform and knowing that like the space that we're in the electronic world, a lot of darkness is highlighted. Like pouring alcohol down their fans' throats, having like talking about benders. I didn't even know what a bender was
Me either.
I had no idea.
Like
but
one
it's
time we did a
it's
show, somebody's
glorified.
like, "Are you guys
Has
doing
it
a bender?"
changed? I don't know what that is either.
Oh, I guess
mean,
it's when you like do
just drink, and like until like the next day. Because there's a day we had.
I thought it was drugs too.
It probably is.
Yeah.
But
I
for
think it
us, like
is.
we had
We're
a day.
squares.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm like, if it's not natural, I don't know about it. But we had a day where we had like, we were in 3 cities and we
In
had
one
2
day.
shows in like 2 different cities. And someone was like, you guys must be on a bender. I'm like, I don't know what a bender is, but I'm excited right now. Like, I have love to share. But I think that in our space, like, I'm excited that we're bringing a lot of light and healing. And before all of our shows, we always do like a prayer. And we're doing like these festivals that are like, can be like really dark, you know?
Party zone.
Yeah.
A lot of people on
And
drugs.
Coco
A lot
and
of
I,
people.
we just like do a prayer together and we call on to our ancestors to allow us to be magnets to open our hearts for the people that need healing.
And we allow our light. We're like, we'll give our light to people while we're on stage. We want them to see it. And literally, we don't tell people this, but like after every show, people tell us they feel the energy that we're giving off. And they feel the light. And it's not us being like, oh, we're giving you guys our light and our energy, but they feel it. And I think that, I don't know, I just love what we're doing in this space because it is, when we first got into it, I was like, oh shit, this is kind of dark.
It's dark.
But I said, you know what, I'm going to protect my peace and we're going to stick to who we are.
Absolutely.
In the beginning, people didn't understand us, but we were like, y'all are going to understand because we're going to keep doing us. And so it's like through dancing, through our production, through our performance, it's all like, it's healing. And I love it. I love like when the artist before us is playing like crazy bass music and then all of a sudden we come on. And like we actually start our intro now. We have, we created an intro and it says like, welcome to the Coco and Breezy experience. And we have singing bowls that play. And it's so
that, like hardcore rave.
like I'm talking about, it's
and,
a hard,
Love it.
like the DJ
Bring
before
it.
us
Like,
is raving, and then all of a sudden we start our set and it's like, bing! And then welcome to the Coco and Breezy experience. And then you just like
Talks
hear
about like freeing
the
your
singing.
soul and just like
They just love it. They
They love it. They love
That's
it.
beautiful. People really need to experience something different than what they're used to. And I think the most important thing, instead of telling people like you're saying, you know, we're just bringing you love and light, it's reminding people of their own love and light, right? And they'll see that in you, and they'll see how much fun you're having, you love what you do, you got your frequency high, on blast, right? And then it's like people have no choice but to feel that within themselves, and that's why it's so healing, right?
I tell you this story actually. The other day we were in Montreal, and this elder was just throwing some knowledge at us. But he was just like, "What you guys do for a living, we're the only people in this world as like just like musicians, all of us being in music. We're the only people in the world in any career that can bring people together to actually enjoy each other. Because when
Like
you think
bring
about
people
it,
from different walks of life.
because when you think about it, in like structure like churches, there's darkness that happens in there with like pastors that are like raping kids and like a lot of people like cheating on each other, and there's a lot of darkness in there. There's music, but like they're like bringing people together, but it's not always like light all the time, most of the time. But when you're a DJ or a musician, you're bringing people who have never met each other, ever. You're like giving them the best day of their lives. They're dancing together, they're smiling together, they're healing together. They might never see each other. There's no one else on this planet, no other career that like can bring folks together through like music and through healing, just from like being able to dance or like sing along together.
Yeah,
And that right there is like, that's community.
it is.
And that's something that I just strive, like that's what keeps me going, like why I love
Well, you're building
music.
it all over the world.
And
All
it's-
over the
It's
world.
so crazy. Like we were saying, we're traveling the world right now.
It's wild.
Playing music for people. Like you can like be at home in your living room and listen to music, but like we get to travel the world.
Like
and,
people really trust us to like be on a stage, and thousands of people come to like hear our music that we like. And like I feel so honored
I
to
feel
have that
honored, too.
position. And it's almost like, I don't want to say it's a duty, but I think that like since we do have like healing is so important for us, since we do have the platform, it is important for us to share that light. Because I go through some of these people's Instagrams, and I'm not judging, but I just don't, it breaks my heart when I just see them pouring alcohol down. Like if you want to drink alcohol, cool, but keep it to yourself. But these people are looking at you like you're their icon, and you're just pouring like
I've never seen this.
in the electronic world.
That's a thing.
Like the EDM,
I've
the
never
EDM
seen
DJs, they
I'm
love.
not that into it. You know, I
they
don't make it out to a lot of
love
those
going
shows.
to the front, and whoever the fans are in the front, they just like
Pour alcohol
bottles down their throats.
And my thing is, I'm not against people drinking alcohol. Like, go for it. We'll have a drink once in a blue moon. But what I don't like is that, like,
you're feeding someone alcohol.
Because it's like, you know that they think you're so cool. They're not going to say no to their favorite DJ pouring vodka down their throat. They think that shit's the coolest thing in the world. And some people's brands are, like, based off of that. And I know that darkness needs lightness, so we all, like, darkness needs light. So we all need each other. But that's why I'm so grateful for the positions that we've been in to, like, perform at some of the biggest festivals with some of the biggest electronic artists, because I'm excited now that we can be that light.
And also, and everyone has their own journey.
Yeah.
And it was funny because we had a conversation with this guy the other day, and he just got into DJing, and he was saying that, like, in order for him to connect to the crowd, he needs to be on a substance or needs to be really drunk. And we were like, me and Breezy were thinking, we were like, hold on. Because, like, everyone in the crowd is on a substance. Yeah. But we thought, we're like, I might have, like, a sip of a drink, but, like, I don't like to, like, drink when I'm DJing because I want to be, like, fully clear.
Yeah.
But I literally feel so high. On nothing.
Just from the music.
From the music, and also we feel like we're on the same frequency that they're on. So even if there are people on substances or whatever they're on, or, like, whatever medicine, we are on the same wavelength. And again, I think that has to do with all the healing we've done. And there's so much more healing. That's why I always check in with myself. But the bit that we have and the experiences we've had with, like, mushrooms and other medicines, it's brought us to, like, music has brought us to that frequency to be able to connect with the people in the audience.
That's beautiful. Yeah, it's really unique. Not a lot of people that really get to do that. It's really special that you get to travel all these places and touch people's lives and bring them together. I kind of see it that way. It's like you are creating your own network and community through the vibration frequency that you carry, and you're going to find all your people. They're going to find you, right? Find their way to you. And where are you going next?
Next, we're going to
New York. And then we go to Berlin, and then we're making our debut in
Ibiza.
How do people say it?
Ibiza.
They say Ibiza?
Ibiza.
Yeah.
Ibiza, Ibiza, same.
I've never heard the T.
Oh, really? That's like a thing.
That's like a thing.
Like
Everyone says that. Everyone's like, oh, you're going to Ibiza. It's like, I don't know if it's like the fancy way of saying it, but everyone be like,
I want to Ibiza. So we're playing there, making our debut.
Okay.
And I'm so excited for that experience.
Yeah.
And then we're also playing in London.
Yeah. So this is like go time. What are the things that you do to take care of yourselves when you're on the road, when you're traveling? What are the things you take? What are you already shared, but, you know, your spiritual practices, your rituals before, after shows?
Well, we bring tinctures with us, like herbal tinctures.
Awesome.
So we take, like, oil of oregano, sea moss, ashwagandha,
mullein leaf.
And then we always have a pack that, like, if we catch a cold or something, I have, like, a whole bunch of herbs and tinctures to like be prepped to help heal myself. Because we were on tour in Europe, and with Channel Trace, and we both caught, like, a cold, and I was so happy I had my tinctures with me.
Yeah, we had all that. Because
we don't. I prefer not to take, like, the, like, cold medicine.
This shit doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. So
just like
I always tell people that I'm like, you can take that, but your body's not going to respond in the same way.
I mean, on our rider, we have like incense, fruit, organic fruits,
like berries,
coconut water, sparkling water, and we have alcohol in there, but we don't ever drink it. It's like for our friends.
But we do have organic wine.
Yeah.
On there, like natural wine.
It is fun.
Yeah.
It is fun once in a while. It's like celebrating your wins, celebrating your success.
You know what it is? I realize when it's like, when we're not working, I'll have a drink with friends, but when we're touring constantly and we're like waking up, like this morning we woke up at 3 a.m. because our flight was at 5 a.m.
And so we went to sleep at like 1 a.m.
Yeah, so I'm like,
wow.
If I was doing, and we're doing this like every single day, so if I'm drinking while I'm doing that, my body's not gonna feel like energized. But on my off days, if I want to go have like a little like glass of wine with friends, it's different. But we found our ways to like, how do we make sure our minds and our spirits feel like clear. Also, after every show, we like take intentional like showers to like wash the energy off, because again, we're doing a ritual of opening. I'll do a mix of hot and cold.
Same.
Yeah.
I'll do both.
I
start with hot and then
go cold and then go back to hot sometimes.
How do I want to feel coming out?
Yeah, but I visualize like all like the energy like going down the drain, because we're like literally pouring our hearts out and like opening our hearts and asking ourselves to be magnets for people that need healing. And I actually like feel it. Like I feel with no alcohol, I feel drunk after these shows. Literally.
Like I'll have a hangover.
Like I'll have a hangover.
Tell the people.
From like
Tell the people
work.
about it, right?
Yeah.
Turn the
Literally.
people on to doing that.
Yeah. And then also when if we come home for like a day or two, like we have this acupressure mat that I love to lay on because we're always flying. And so have you ever used an acupressure mat before?
Yeah, like I've laid on a couple, but
Okay.
it's mostly on the feet.
Okay, yeah, so I use it on my feet, but I also love laying on it before going to sleep. So whenever I feel really tensed, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna lay on this mat for 20 minutes before I go to sleep.
It hurts for like the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, but literally, like I get the best sleep afterwards because your blood is circulating, it's
I gotta
flowing.
try that. I use a biomat, very different. You try that?
No, but didn't you just
like
order one?
Is it the P?
Is it the one that's like,
that, or no?
is it like infrared?
It's crystals. It's amethyst. Some people use jade, but I use the old school biomat, and that one is just filled, like tight, packed with amethyst crystals, and you can heat that shit up really hot.
That's dope.
Okay.
The sauna's where it's at too. One of the best ways to detox.
But also too, like when we're at home, we love like cooking for our friends as well, because we're plant based, and like the way that we look at food, we look at it like medicine as well. So like
we love all types of mushrooms, lion's mane, reishi.
Yeah.
Do you go to the farmer's market?
We do.
They have a lot.
Love farmers markets.
I love exploring new mushrooms.
And then we also have a home apothecary, so we have like over 40 like different herbs. Just so like if I'm like, oh, I have a headache, that's like my medicine cabinet, but it's just herbs.
That is. Right? It's so necessary to always have these things on hand, and I think just having that relationship with the plants, with these herbs, like we were saying, like just dropping in with them, like, you know, anything that's going on, it's like you know exactly what to do to remedy in the moment and take care of the people around you.
Yeah, you know what's important too, I think, is that a lot of my friends, like, they've had bad experiences with like plant-based like food, or like, I don't like to be a preacher of our lifestyle or our way of life, because I'm not a fan of, because we all have our own journeys and we come into it when it's our time. And so I think that when like people are like, oh, you have to do this in order to be successful, you have to meditate every day. Like I love meditating every day, but I'm not going to preach to someone to do that.
Or if I know that they're eating foods that aren't good, I'm not going to be like, well, you should not eat that.
Like we don't eat packaged foods, but I'm not going to tell someone that. So our way of doing it is inviting people into our space.
That's beautiful.
And like cooking beautiful food,
the best way.
Making amazing tea, playing like medicinal type of like music.
And then that's when they're like,
oh my God,
girl, what was that recipe that you made?
Or what was that playlist? I felt so calm at your house. What were you wearing?
Because we have friends that are like super plant-based, super like very, very knowledgeable of like all the fake foods, you know, very knowledgeable of being like, oh, well, cashews aren't real and this is not real. And it's like, yes, those are things. I don't know if cashews are real or not, but I'm making an example. They say cashews aren't real. They say that kale is whatever.
Not great.
Yeah. But like, if I know these things, I'm not going to make you feel bad that you're eating it.
I'm just going to feed you.
I'm going to feed you the stuff that I think is
great.
Good.
And then you're going to like ask about it.
It's such a turn off when people do that. It's not fair to like pour and be so aggressive.
But we just have no idea what someone else's experience is, what they're struggling with, what they've tried, what works for them, what doesn't. And sometimes it takes a while for people to really warm up and try new things. You know, there's fear, there's hesitation, there's worry, there's insecurity. That's a huge one with plant medicine and psychedelics. You know, when people just are not ready, they are not ready. You know, and you can't push that, you can't force it. What are your views, thoughts, feelings about, I guess, the politics and future of plant medicine, psychedelics, and maybe prescription drugs?
I mean, I think that like us being in hotel rooms all the time, I'm always hearing these commercials that are prescribing or that are like marketing prescription drugs that have millions of side effects. So right there, that makes me feel really uncomfortable. But I'm actually reading this book right now that's over here. It's a fantastic fungi book, and it talks about how like psilocybin can help cure depression. And you think about like these medicines that you prescription drugs that are on TV, they're like, oh, this will help your depression, but then you get this side effect and that side effect, and they name 1,000 side effects.
You gotta take more medicines for those.
Yeah, and so I just cannot wait until people understand the medicine that grows from the earth that can help like cure so many things.
You know, and like I feel like just like plant medicine in general, it like helps cure. It doesn't just put a Band-Aid on it.
That's right.
You go deep into like ancestral trauma.
That's right.
I want the world to understand that it's not a drug, because our perspective, again, as being younger and being goody two-shoes, we compared plant medicine to like cocaine. We thought everything was in the same category because of our lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
And I think that it's important for us as like Black women, Black and Latina women, to even talk about this, because I think, again, since we never really got to see people like us talk about plant medicine and the importance of it being a natural like healing thing, we again thought it was just like, we only heard about it as being recreational and people just like tripping out and like, you know, like this like wild experience, but we never heard the conversations of it being like healing. And when we actually got that experience of someone sharing their healing journey and us actually experiencing our first times doing like 5 grams in a very ceremonial way, and how life-changing that was, and how we've done plenty of those type of ceremonies now.
And also, like, we used to have, we've healed ourselves. We used to have social anxiety.
Yep.
We were functional, anxious girls.
Yeah. Highly anxious.
And we both used to be overthinkers. And, like, I don't have that anymore.
We freed ourselves from plant medicine helped that. And one thing, too, that I think is important that we've learned is that when we're on our journey of taking the medicine, we don't take our next journey until we integrate whatever we learn into our life.
Bingo.
And I think that's like integration is so important, because it can be easy to continue to like search for this, like, because of course when you're doing the ceremony in that moment, you might feel amazing, or you might even feel like sad because the journey it's a journey. You have to go through that shit, but it's so important to integrate it. Like, I realized to just continue to integrate it, and then I know the feeling of when it's time to do another like deep journey. We microdose we microdose today, but like doing an actual like 5 gram like ceremonial journey, we make sure we just incorporate it, integrate whatever we learned, whatever downloads we got, whatever healing we had to learn, whatever best practices to like go through our healing journey, whatever we had to learn, and then time for the next journey. Because I do hear people have these conversations of like always doing ayahuasca all the time. They're always doing mushroom journeys, which is okay.
If they're on the path.
Oh, if they're on the path.
Some people are actually committed to like.
No, but that's different.
Become medicine people.
100%.
So I'm like, okay, but I used to judge that too. Like, why?
No, I never.
So much?
So I never judged that.
These people are dedicated.
Yeah, I never judged that. I think it's more of the importance of like integrating what you've learned.
Yes.
Some people are dedicated, but then I've seen some folks that are chasing something that like it'll be right in front of them, but they haven't gotten to integrate it into their lives. And so that's just a tip that I've learned from myself.
That's with anything. We should never over abuse anything if we're not actually like integrating. It's like the same way of like, you could continue to go on this path and you're going in like a hamster wheel. But if you're taking the medicine and you're actually like utilizing the medicine for what it should be, then you just keep going like this. You keep doing this, and obviously we have our ups and our downs, but you keep growing with it, and I think that's beautiful.
I mean, even like our first like few like heavy dose ceremonies were super, super healing, and then I remember the time where we like healed so much that then it was like we started entering different portals, and Coco and I, we spoke to each other. We were like 8 feet away from each other. Is it like called telepathic?
Yeah.
We had
telepathy.
We had a moment where Coco was standing in front of the ocean and she looked like a queen, and it was just so beautiful to see her. And like, I'm about to cry thinking about it. I'm for real, cause like Coco used to have a wallet. It was just so nice to see you like, it was my first time seeing you with so much peace. She had so much peace, and she looked like a queen, and I was 8 feet away from her, but we were having a full-on conversation, like a full-on conversation that wasn't vocal, but like we were just literally having voices. And later on, we talked about it, because I'm like, I thought I was like tripping. I mean, I was tripping, but I thought I was tripping, like, did this really happen? And she heard it too. We heard each other's voices from being like 8 feet away from each other. But it was, I think we both got to see each other in our lights. And like that's when separately, yeah. People have seen our lights, but we haven't seen our own lights. And after that, I feel like our career took off. Like everything took off because we finally stepped into our power.
And now we're in super flow state.
Mm-hmm. It really works. Mm-hmm. So beautiful. I'm so grateful to hear all these beautiful stories. And I think everything you're doing is contributing to the highest good of your success, your ability to reach people in that way, you know, that inspires other people to want to, you know, set intentions in their own lives, you know, for how they want to heal themselves, how they want to, you know, integrate all the things that come to them, you know, with the influence of plants and psychedelics. I think it's just a beautiful opportunity to, you know, really create something special. And I think this world is on, you know, a good movement. Those who know, know, you know, like those who feel it just know. It's like, you just know. It's kind of like an unspoken language, like you were saying it is. It's very like kinetic, magnetic. I'm just all about supporting artists, and I'd love to know, like, how can we support you? What are the ways that people, your fans, the people who love you, all of us are your listeners, like, how can we support you best? What feels best in your heart?
I think like showing up to our shows. Yeah. Like literally when we're starting to do more headline shows, showing up and buying a ticket. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It means so much.
Because it's even bigger than just buying a ticket, but I think people showing up, because again, when you're on your healing journey, sometimes it could feel like you're alone. Mm-hmm. But if you come to one of our shows, you'll have a community.
That's right.
And so I think that coming to our shows and being able to like be around community, and like we all can do this together. Mm-hmm. Like our hearts, I feel so like, my heart just feels so warm when we do a headline show and people are there. We still kind of have imposter syndrome a little bit. We're like,
oh, no one's gonna show up. And then it's like 400 people right there.
Yeah, but it's wild, because then I'm like, are they really here for us?
Yes.
But they are. Mm-hmm. And
it trips me out, like when we're in a random city. We were in North Carolina. Yeah. And it was like a whole bunch of beautiful people, and I was like, you know, we play house music, right? They're like, we're here for you. Yeah. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, but yeah, just showing up.
Yeah.
Building community with each other as well.
Amen. Yeah. Beautiful. And then buying sunglasses, of course.
Yes. Hey. Getting our eyewear. And I'm so excited. We're actually about to launch in a new chain that has, is it 50 locations?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has 50 more locations, so we're in probably over 400 stores. We'll be 500 soon. Amazing. And yeah, get our eyewear.
And something too that we're excited about that I'm going to sneak in there is that we're, it's not 100% yet, but we're very close on closing on the idea of a Coco and Breezy experience / like storefront in LA. Okay. And it'll be eyewear, but then we also are going to offer like herbs, some of our favorite like herb blends for teas.
Maybe some sound healing stuff too.
Yeah, some sound. It's going to be a whole experience of like the things that we do to heal ourselves, with like eyes for protection, and then like herbs, oils, a few different things to kind of bring people into our world. Because again, I think a lot of times people have interest, but they don't have
the resources.
Yeah. And if we can provide the resources, we'll also be doing like community events, like different like events where we can like offer our space for friends that want to do like a collaborative like pop-up shop.
Love it.
But really just bringing community together.
Okay, I support that.
So we're really pumped about that.
Yay. Thank you so much. So happy to have you here with us, and look forward to just supporting you. May the movement grow.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.